nuestro abuelo, sino que tenemos que recuperar.
So he's saying that, in his view, there is no reason to take away the plants that his parents and grandparents have passed down to them just because of this one disease.
Porque la única café que tenemos, el café arábica, pues es la mejor calidad que existe en el mundo.
Because the Arabica coffee is the best quality coffee that exists in the world.
También el Cooperative Coffee nos ha dicho que Maya Vinic tiene la mayor demanda de café en Estados Unidos.
So he's saying that Cooperative Coffee, the affiliate, who's affiliated with Monica, they tell Maya Vinic that they have coffee that's most in demand in the United States.
Porque también Maya Vinic está en una altura sobre el nivel del mar de 1000 a 1750 metros.
Because Maya Vinic is at an altitude of 1,000 to 1,500 meters above sea level, special geographic location.
Y por eso el café de Maya Vinic pues, se considera una mejor calidad.
And for that reason, it produces a unique and better quality coffee.
I could just speak briefly to your question directly about Just Coffee and outside the bean. Just Coffee has done projects in coffee growing communities that currently it's like a firestorm with La Roya as being like very central, particularly on anything south of Maya Vinic. Once you get into Guatemala and all the way down through into Colombia, they're having a lot of problems. And so it's really a sort of a collective effort that's being organized through cooperative coffees. And Just Coffee works with cooperative coffees for that. So the projects that they've done are sort of outside of the direct sort of technical assistance on the coffee growing front. And actually, that's kind of the genesis in some ways of outside the bean too, which is like, there's a lot of need for, sort of for community resiliency and like broader connections with people in the United States and people in coffee growing areas. There's a lot of interest in both directions. And so sort of making those connections and in some cases supporting projects, development type projects, is something that we do, but it's just it's kind of limited resources and one a year. That's kind of about it. Okay, yeah. If there's no more questions, I could keep asking questions, but I won't. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to be showing the whole film tonight, Connected by Coffee, at the Wilmar Community Center, BYOB. It's actually a really good film, and maybe we'll make it available through Lasis. I think we have a copy of it. Yeah, could probably arrange something. I'll have to ask Just Coffee because this is theirs.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Gracias.
No, muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias.
¿Cómo se dice gracias en Tzotzil?
Ah, Tzotzil, Colabal.
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 Victoria,
Una persona sí.
I'll also have enough time for presentation and Q&A, but please feel free to get coffee and tea and snacks as you wish. So, good afternoon, my name is Sarah Witt. I'm the Outreach Coordinator and Undergrad Advisor for the Latin American Caribbean Nigerian Studies Program, and very pleased to have you all here today. If you are new to, looking at a couple new faces here, if you're not on our listserv and you're interested in learning more about other events that we have a sign-in sheet there in the corner where you can sign up for our listserv, as well as some information about our academic programs and other events we have going on this week. There's also a handout with a list of all the remaining lunchtime lectures for the rest of the semester, if you'd rather have a paper copy instead of looking on our website. Before I turn it over to Alberto, I just wanted to give two quick
law degree from the Universidad Nacional de Colombia in Bogotá. He has 3 master's degrees, one in public law from the Universidad de los Andes, one in master in legal institutions from UW-Madison, and a master's in law also here from the UW-Madison. And Carlos has an extensive experience working in human rights issues and an activist and as a manager also of great organizations. We most probably remember him his years working for the originally the Wisconsin Coordinating Council on Nicaragua, WCCN, and then in a very smart move, he expanded and changed it to working capital for community needs. Working in many countries in Latin America, Central America. Now Carlos works for Displacement Solutions. It's an international NGO working in this timely topic of displacement due to climate change. We hear a lot about climate change. We might get worried or not about that, but it's already happening. And Carlos is going to tell us about one particular case in Panama. So thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I would like to apologize because my English is not that good, so I hope that I can communicate today what I want to communicate. So the pictures that I will show in this presentation are from a photojournalist, Kabir van Lohuisen, from the Netherlands, who accompanied me in our first trip to Cunayala last March. So this is the first documented case of an indigenous community in Latin America that has been forced to relocate as a result of the rise in sea level. And at the same time, is one of the first one that our organization, Displacement Solution, is aware of on climate displacement in Latin America at this scale. Let me introduce Displacement Solution a little bit. As Alberto mentioned, Displacement Solution is an international human rights organization based in the Netherlands, in Geneva, that is specialized in climate displacement. And the organization has been documenting during the last 5 years the situation of the climate displaced population worldwide in places like Bangladesh, Tuvalu, Kiribati, Fiji, Vietnam, etc. The organization also led the process of drafting what is known now as the Peninsula Principles on Climate Displacement within the States in August 2013. And the Peninsula Principles are the first international legal instrument regarding the rights of climate displaced people and the responsibilities of states and the international community toward them. This is one of the pictures that we found in our visit to Cunayala. I would like to mention a little bit about the Guna people, the people that live in Cunayala. The Guna people are originally from the northwestern part of Colombia, and in the 16th century, they started moving to what is currently Panama. So they live in the area that is in red, the Cunayala region. And in a process that took a few centuries, they settled on that long strip of land between the mountains of San Blas and the Caribbean Sea. Around the middle of the 19th century, the Gunas started moving to some of the 371 small and beautiful coral islands that border the Caribbean coast. Perhaps in this map, you can see a little better the small islands, especially in the west part of the coast. So it is believed that shortly after that, most of the Gunas finally decided to settle on the islands, mainly to escape from mosquitoes and snakes. So in this other picture, I have some of the indigenous areas, territories that have been legally recognized in Panama as indigenous territories. So we have, besides Cunayala, there are other two Cuna communities that have their own territory, the Madugandi and Wargandi. Those are Cunas, but and even that they share a lot of the same culture, they are, because of their geographical separation, they have a kind of different history. So, and the Emberas, they have two different comarcas, as they call, and the Nove Bugle, that is the biggest indigenous group in Panama. Each community in Cunayala is led by a group of local chiefs that are called silas. Typically, a community has 4 silas, and they have a hierarchical order. And each community also has another very important person that is called the argar, that is a type of interpreter of what the silas say. So most of the culture, the Cunas transmit the culture to their kids and to the community by singing traditional songs, where they narrate all their history. So the Gunas said that in their songs, they don't mention the islands. Those are very old songs from a time where they were still living in the mainland. So another important thing to keep in mind is, as you can see here, the Gunayala region is located in 3 different municipalities: Narganá, Aligandí, Tubuala, and Puerto Ovaldía, and in the border with Colombia. There are not Cuna communities here, but in the other ones. And each municipality, the Cuna communities that live there, they select a regional chief that is called the cacique, and the 3 caciques are part of the what is called the Guna General Congress. This kind of the administrative institution that govern the Gunayala region. They also have elect members of what is called the Guna Cultural Congress. So they have this combination of the an structure that is in charge of keeping the culture of the organization, and other of running the comarca of Cunayala. So some of the patterns of settlement in that area are the following. Because almost all of the islands lack fresh water, the Gunas settled on those islands that were closest to the mainland and near to mouths of rivers. To this day, they farm, hunt, and access water from the rivers on the mainland while living on the islands and fishing in the ocean. Of the 40 Cuna communities, only around eight communities are still, they never moved to islands, they still live in the mainland. So as of today, some of those islands have running water. The government built a very, I would call provisional aqueduct that connect the water from the rivers in the mainland to some of the islands. So you can see that there is a little bit of running water that works sometimes, but most of the water is still, they need to go to the mainland, to the rivers to get that water. Historically, the Gunas have resisted all efforts of colonization for more than 4 or 5 centuries. And additionally, they have been very successful in protecting their territory from all types of outsiders, including small settlers. large entrepreneurs, and even state officials. The most dramatic fight to control their territory took place in 1925 during what is called the Thule Revolution, when the Gunas expelled all state institutions from the region. They were granted autonomous status in 1938, and this has been protected and even expanded since then. So next year they are commemorating like 90 years of being an autonomous region. And it's, I will say, and in our report, if people are interested, you can read a little more about that, but it's important to keep in mind that there is the autonomy, what is in the laws, and what I will call the autonomy in the practice, and definitely what they exercise their autonomy beyond what is said at the law. And the Panamanian government in general has accepted this type of arrangement. The population in the Gunayala region has grown from around 15,000 people in the 1920s to a peak of 34,000 in the 1990s. The last two censuses have shown a small decrease in population, around 32,000 in the year 2000 and 33,000 in 2010. According to the 2010 census, that is the last one in Panama, most of the Gunas are, and here we count all the Gunas, not only from Gunayala, but from the other two Guna comarcas. Most of the Gunas live in the province of Panama, around 50.4%. This is the province where the capital of Panama, Panama City, is located, followed by Gunayala, where 37.6% of the Gunas live. This indicates a migratory pattern from Gunayala to the capital city that started with the construction of the Panama Canal at the beginning of the 20th century and have become a permanent flow since the 1970s. Let me mention a little bit about our approach to climate displacement in Gunayala. At the end of March 2014, Displacement Solution visited Panama to investigate the impact of rising sea levels on the displaced communities in Gunayala and the planned relocation of those communities from affected islands to the mainland. We used the Peninsula Principles as a guiding framework for assessing the situation and making recommendations. And we also conducted some trainings with local communities as their leaders on the Peninsula Principles to empower them and so help them so that they use those principles as a tool in their fight for their rights. This is one of the communal meetings that we have in one of the islands in the, that was in the island of Soledad Mandinga. Our visit focused mainly in the island of Gardisubdup. That is the community that is leading the process of relocation in Gunayala. We met with a couple local Guna congresses in Gardisubdup, on the island of Gardisubdup, and in another one, this one like Soledad Mandinga. So that is the Gunas have nightly meetings. This is what is called Casa de Congreso, or the Congreso, Congress House, so we were able to talk to them about what we were doing there and about the Peninsula Principles. This was a very special moment for us in our visit. Not everyone is allowed to do this, to participate in their meetings, and we were very lucky and thankful for that opportunity. The relocation of the Gunas communities. So let's talk now about the relocation. So the idea of moving some of the Guna population from the islands to the mainland is not new. Over the years, some community leaders have promoted the idea of relocating the population as a result of population growth and lack of space. Over the last 10 years, the idea of relocation to the mainland has got more attention due to a series of natural disasters and weather-related events that have affected the islands of Gunayala. Additionally, a scientific publication in 2003 also contributed to creating a sense of urgency about the relocation process and connecting it to the broader issue of climate change and rising sea levels. This is an aerial picture of the community of Gardisuptup, where my talk will be focused. So again, for people to have a better picture of where this is located, there is a road now. Gunayala for many years was a very isolated place. You have to take a small plane to some of the communities, and it was a paved road that was built many years ago that tried to connect Panama City with the port of Carti, but because of the lack of bridges and because it's a region where it rains almost every day, for many years the road was useless until around 4 years ago that the government finally built all the bridges that were needed and the road was paved. So now it take only 2.5 hours from Panama City to the port of Carti. So this island is located just in front of the Carti port. It's like 1.5 kilometers from the mainland. And as I will mention later, it's one of the main entry points to Gunayala. So the scientific data about the rise of sea levels. This is in 2003, marine biologist Hector Guevara and his team from the Smithsonian, they published an article in the journal Conservation Biology that has become the most authoritative and influential study so far on the effects of climate change in Gunayala. Guzman and his team findings were mainly the following. He was able to measure that the level of the ocean has risen in the region. The Smithsonian has been monitoring this situation for almost 100 years in that area. But he also found through different pictures that were taken, aerial pictures of the region, and comparing with pictures that they have in files from previous decades, he found that the inhabited islands, the surface of those islands has been decreasing. And he found evidence that on average the sea level rise 2.2 millimeters from 2007 to around 2000, with the evidence that it has accelerated to 3 millimeters since the 1970s. Something important to point out, if someone checked that report, there is a big typo there, and instead of mentioning millimeters, it says centimeters in the whole report. So obviously, when I met with Guzman, the first thing that he clarified was that. So over a 30-year period, the authors found a decrease in the surface areas of the uninhabited islands of around 50,000 square meters. The other major finding was that a surface growth of inhabited islands and the dramatic decrease of the live hard coral. That was the main focus of the study. As marine biologist, Guzman is an expert on coral, and he found that the gunas, they have been expanded the islands, the surface of the islands with this practice of infilling using coral. And they estimated that they increased the size of the islands, the islands by around 62,000 square meters. And they found a dramatic decrease in live coral. they also found that they measured the seawalls that were built around the islands, and they mentioned that at around 16 kilometers. So since the publication of this study, Guzman has organized and the Smithsonian several workshops to publicize their findings and to bring the problem to the attention of the general public, the Guna people, and the Panamanian government about the rising sea levels and the need to relocate the Gunas communities as a way to save and restore the coral of Gunayala. This